Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of... Wait a minute, what is that? Oh, that's a podcast. Okay.
Oh.
My name is Fire Emblem 237, or rather it was. I'm Guildmaster Wiggly now. I've since had a rebrand, and I'm not the only one that's had a rebrand, because with me I have Matt Cross.
I am Matt the Cross from now on, because I'm
Matt
not
the
a
Crossozo.
The Crosso.
And we also have someone who's infamous if you are a fan of Matt Cross, Shadowcry98.
Evening.
Okay, so today we are going to be talking about we're going to be starting talking about, the conversation could derail to other things later, but we are primarily going to be talking about some copyright bullshit with streaming limitations on specific games, namely Persona 5 and Puyo Puyo Tetris. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to have both of you explain your opinions separately, and then I'm going to explain mine, and then we're going to start conversing with each other about it. So Shadowcry, I know you have a lot to say about this. What is your opinion on the matter?
It's fucking horse shit as far as I can tell. You kidding me? It's the biggest bullshit I've seen, ever.
Okay, so which is the worst of the two?
What do you mean?
Between the Persona 5 and the Puyo
And the
Pop.
Puyo Puyo.
Okay, Persona 5, I can see it, maybe. Alright, it's a story-driven... I haven't played any Persona game, so I wouldn't know shit. But, going off of what Guildmaster Wiggly told me, it's entirely, story-based, fine.
Mostly, yeah,
mostly
80%.
Fine. That I can understand. Although stupid, understandable. Puyo Puyo Tetris fucking has nothing.
Right,
Hello?
yeah.
Hardly any story or anything worth spoiling, I guess.
That's like fucking saying 100% Orange Juice is a fucking story-driven game. You kidding me?
Okay, so Matt, what's your opinion on it?
Okay, so this thing where they basically just do copyright over you streaming a certain part or up to a certain part. It reminds me of one RPG Maker game called Mad Father.
Good
yes.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The notice that they give you when you start the game up is that you're forbidden from streaming or making any video content on the game itself. That was imposed by the creator of that, and
What the wait?
yeah,
This is
It
funny.
was, but it was never enforced.
but the thing is that
exactly.
the idea is that he doesn't want people to make videos about it, but people have made let's plays and stuff about Mad Father, and he hasn't done anything
I have.
about him.
It's deleted now, but I actually did a full Let's Play of Mad Father blind with a friend, and then I took it down because I thought the quality wasn't good. But you're telling me that there was actually a notice that I didn't see at the beginning of the thing?
I remember there was at the beginning there was a notice that said that they don't want people to make video content about it.
Really?
Otherwise, I don't know, there would be some sort of restriction or anything, but I know people have done that, and I've even watched a review that even mentioned that notice, and even they were pretty hesitant on making a video about it because they didn't know what would be the consequence. But he hasn't really done anything, and if anything,
Yeah, right.
he probably couldn't do anything because he's basically just a small guy who just made some RPG Maker game.
Right?
Now,
It's not. He doesn't have a big license, and he's not.
that's kind of where I'm getting at. For that,
He
for
doesn't.
that way,
He doesn't have the sway to do YouTube DMCA takedowns and.
yeah, I kind of get that. It's you make a passion project and you kind of don't like to see it spoiled for other people because you want to let other people get the surprise. If it's a project of yours specifically, then I get that. I get why you would probably
Just politely ask them, and then
just
if they
politely
say no,
say,
you just gotta kind of.
please lay it off on spoiling.
And then
it,
if
I
they
guess.
don't, then I guess you just got to deal with it,
Yeah. Now, Atlas, on the other hand, is a company who has made and published a lot of RPGs, and not one singular person. It's more like a big company who tells or pretty much demands people some kind of dictator, hey, you can only make a video of it up to a certain point, and if you
Yeah.
cross that line, then will
Fuck you.
will
Well,
fuck
but it's
you up.
it's actually even more strict than that, and I'll read exactly what the limitations are.
Yeah, I was gonna
on that as
mention
well.
if we're gonna explain the copyright things that exactly.
You're just gonna read like the letter they put out, or is there?
Yeah, I'm
more?
gonna read a summary of the letter
right.
of exactly what you can and can't do with it. Also, the other company doing it is Sega with Puyo Puyo Tetris, so it's both
Yikes.
Atlas and Sega, and it sucks because when Nintendo of Japan was doing all this copywriting shit. And Nintendo of America was trying to be friendly about it. Sega were the ones who were like, "We don't care. You can make stuff of our games all you want." But now all of a sudden, Puyo Puyo Tetris is the line you can't cross. So like,
They just like
fucking
went
really.
completely two-faced at that moment.
So
And why is it?
dumb.
Why the fuck is it Puyo Puyo Tetris? That's the line. What? Okay. Anyway, my thoughts on the matter are that I do not understand the Puyo Puyo Tetris thing one bit. Not at all. The Persona 5 thing, I am the only one of the three of us, once again, I'm the only person in the podcast who actually has
yes.
Persona 5. And I love Persona. And I can attest that it's not as bad as P4, because P4 had a plot that entirely hinged around one spoiler, really. But P5, it has multiple heavy spoilers throughout it, and they all kind of play into the plot in their own way. And
Like, what exactly
fully-
is the difference between like P4s and P5s? Like, I guess
P5,
plot spoilers.
P4's
The JoJo reference.
P4's is P4's is the fact that it's a murder mystery and it hinges around who the culprit is. And in P5, there's a whole big plot with that. It's a bunch of mini plots tied together that create a bigger cohesive plot. And each of those mini plots have their own spoilers within them. And also there's like sort of a spoiler here. There is a traitor. So if you knew who the traitor was, you wouldn't be able to trust that character throughout it. And then there's an even bigger spoiler about a specific thing that's crazy to think about that they did, and I'm not going to say anything about that, obviously.
So as
But-
in like in P4, there's like in P5, there's like multiple like sub stories that just tie together into one cohesive
Yes,
story. like
and
you
then
said.
there's two notable massive spoilers of the overarching plot as well, and the characters and Atlas gives you until the in-game date of July 7th, which for those of you that don't know, in Persona, it's you are the main character who is a silent protagonist, and you are under some circumstance that you're going to be attending a school and living in a town that you don't normally live in for a year. And you actually experience, like, unless the character gets knocked out cold and is in the hospital or whatever, you experience every individual day of that year, usually starting in March. So they give you a grand total of like 4 in-game months to stream, and that in and of itself is somewhat generous. However, there are limitations within those 4 months.
like in terms of story stuff.
Yeah, here is exactly what is limited on the content. For video content, not streaming content, this is talking about on YouTube specifically, you can post however many additional videos you'd like, but please limit each to be almost 90 minutes long.
90 minutes.
Yeah,
See,
like,
this is-
what?
This is
That-
This is like fucking the Zero Escape series saying, "Oh, you can't play after a certain point." No, that's fucking stupid.
No, with Zero Escape and Danganronpa, I fully understand, because the story is the only reason to play those.
Yeah, but like, see, I don't know, because like you said, Persona 5 is a good amount of story.
Yes,
See, if
it's not-
Zero Escape did that, people would be like, "What the fuck?" That's not-
Danganronpa did it. Because
Did they?
yes, Danganronpa V3 in Japan, and it's going to happen in America as well. You cannot stream past the very first chapter.
Oh, but
the fuck?
that's only streaming though. Right?
Well, streaming and video content, I believe.
Streaming and video content. Well,
Oh boy.
Okay, then.
But it made, with those games, I fully 100% understand it, because there's no reason for the consumers to buy the game, and they are just losing profit after that. Honestly. Because at least in Persona 5, you have the gameplay and the RPG half to look forward to after it. but in those games, there's not really much in the way of gameplay. And
those are just visual novels.
They're pretty much just
dialogue.
visual novels. That's the thing. Also, the companies are completely within their rights to do this, and it's kind of a shitty thing to do. But
yeah, it's like we talk about how like terrible it is, but they do have the power to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's just.
Yeah,
and
but
also,
here's where it gets a bit weird, because there's in their letter they specifically mentioned like, oh, we don't want people getting spoiled after this. It's like, you realize people will get spoiled. Like, there's no stopping it whatsoever.
They're trying to do their best to limit that, and whether or not that's going to help that much,
I don't know.
Anyway, before we go more into that, I want to read the rest of this real quick. Okay.
All
right then.
No major story spoilers, understandable, and I'll leave that up to your good judgment. If you need some guidelines, avoid showing/spoiling the ending segments of the first 3 palaces, which are like the dungeons in the first 3 months. So basically, there's restrictions within those first 3 months. And while you can show initial interactions with Yusuke, who's a character that appears during basically the second chapter of the game, avoid his awakening scene and the whole deal about the painting. Also, don't post anything about a certain character. I'm not going to mention what they say there. So that's...
Can I just point out the irony of how they mentioned a spoiler in their letter?
Yeah,
like,
that's even weirder. That's even weirder.
I was hearing you say like, no, I don't want to mention this character, and then like moments and places here and there.
Well, it says
those are stuff from the game.
Okay.
So fucking dumb.
Don't listen to this. And don't post anything about a certain student investigator is what it says. And there's only one character that fits that bill.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can connect the dots from that if you're playing the game.
They literally just spoiled the entire game for you. You don't even have to fucking buy it now.
Oh, man. I don't even need to buy Persona 5 anymore.
You don't even need to buy that.
Right?
Thanks, Atlas.
That's only one of the spoilers. There's a bigger spoiler on top of that. But anyway.
Fun.
You can grab footage from the first boss fight, however, don't capture the other major boss fights. Also, must not focus solely on cutscenes / animated scenes, and should prominently feature dungeon crawling / spending time in Tokyo.
Oh my god.
But you can post gameplay or have commentary.
So you have to skip every cutscene, basically.
They didn't say skip it, just don't focus on that only.
What does that mean?
So like, it probably means posting
have
cutscenes.
You know how like for the Kingdom Hearts games, they've made like Kingdom Hearts 2 the movie where they just took all the cutscenes.
Where they just like take all the cutscenes and just put them all together in a big like 2-hour movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like any game that has cutscenes does that, where they just like have a compilation of just all the cutscenes in the game.
Yeah, but like Metal Gear Solid has a shit ton of cutscenes, but that was all on YouTube where someone just puts it up and it's like 3 hours long.
Exactly, but saying
like
that somebody else did it doesn't mean that like it's right particularly.
That's like one of the reasons why
like,
Sakurai doesn't do the story modes for Smash anymore, because he's like upset about cutscenes being posted online.
Wait, shit.
Now, before we move on to Puyo Puyo Tetris, I just want to say that when it comes to the Persona 5 thing, number one, I fully understand about the restrictions being on YouTube, because on YouTube, I've looked up like a piece of a soundtrack from a game I'm currently playing, and then I get a spoiler video, like a video with a blatant spoiler in the title in my recommended section. Like the next day, I've had that happen more than once.
Because it's like related.
Now on Twitch, this makes no fucking sense because of the fact that on Twitch there is no way for you to be spoiled unless number one, you're an idiot, or number two, you're going out of your way and you're okay with being spoiled, so you click on a stream of the game.
Yeah, like fucking, what was it, like literally a week after, I just saw my notification, like one of the streamers I follow was like playing Persona 5, and literally like, that was like what, a month ago or some shit? Mm-hmm. And fucking, like right now I see him, he's like, we're still not banned? Let's continue Persona 5. I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna get banned later.
Oh no,
you fucking idiot.
You crazy people. Don't...
You
Okay.
I'm not going to mention his name because,
all right.
Whatever.
No, it's cool.
Now, on to Puyo Puyo Tetris.
The most story-driven game.
Ooh.
Has one of the most compelling characters.
Oh, wait a minute. Breaking news. According to Eurogamer, maybe we shouldn't talk about this because this has an update on it. False alarm, everybody. As it turns out, these restrictions only apply to the Japanese versions of the game, not the English language release.
For Puyo Pop?
Of course.
So, okay, yeah, for Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Okay, that's like inconsequential to us then.
Yeah, but still, it's kind of dumb to limit Puyo Puyo Tetris.
It's still kind of, like the thing is kind of there still for Japan, and it's kind of dumb.
Maybe it's because they knew us Americans would fucking riot out about it, because it's always the Japanese. It's always, that sounded racist. Oh my god, no.
But like,
it's always
in terms of like
always,
regions, like that's what you're getting at. I get it.
It's always Sega of Japan, Atlas of Japan, or Nintendo of Japan doing this stuff, which is disappointing, but at the same time, I have a lot less of a problem. Like, okay, so what was it, like 3 or 4 years ago? Maybe 2? I don't remember exactly how long it was ago. That Nintendo started going around and flagging all these... I wasn't flagging, just putting their claims on all of their old games.
It was like last year, wasn't it?
Well, it's been happening for a while.
It's still happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still happening.
Where they were going around... Every game from, say, Twilight Princess HD back to the original Legend of Zelda, for example. And they were putting up claims on all of those. At least Atlas is not going and putting up claims on Persona 3 and Persona 4.
Okay,
now,
Persona games in general, right?
All the Persona games.
Now, if they did that for every single Persona
Shin Megami
game,
Tensei as a whole.
or even, Shin Megami Tensei even.
So I'm okay for the most part. I can accept these, as much as I disagree with parts of them. I can accept this deal about Persona 5 as long as within like 2 or 3 months this is rescinded and it's not a permanent rule.
Which they have like stated too.
I actually can't find a source for that. If you can find a source for that, put that in the description. But I can't find a source to say that specifically it will be rescinded on this date. I can't find a source for that.
The limitation is there, and I think I even read that it'll only be like for like a short time, like since the game releases. And like
exactly.
Like you were saying, like that's kind of generous. It's better than
really,
just having it being more than the existence of the game for all of time. If you ever make a video on it, that would make no sense.
Exactly. As much there's people. Whenever I've argued with other people about this and discussed this with other people, but I really, really, really hate it when people say, when the game just comes out and people are like, "What? This is free advertising for you." You know, like, well,
that's no. I don't
agree with that. Exactly.
I don't agree with that either.
Well, and it's mostly that. Why do you have to go and monetize the game immediately? Why can't you sit down and enjoy the game normally?
They need that ad revenue.
It's disappointing. Like, why do you?
Ad revenue is shit now for YouTube, so
which will probably get into that later.
Exactly.
Why do you have to? Why do you have to immediately stream it or immediately let's play it? I don't understand that. As a let's player myself, I'm never going to ever try to make this my full-time job, because especially since segue. Especially since YouTube. This is old news now, but YouTube's sort of going through an ad crisis because
YouTube
of...
is dying.
Yes,
everyone's closing their channels. They're banning people,
Go to VidMe.
Goodness.
Those guys are cool.
Goodness.
Like, I actually have good talks and emails with them. They're pretty cool.
Yeah. It's short story, because I'm sure you've heard this already. It's heavily linked to the Wall Street Journal with their PewDiePie situation, and the Wall Street Journal's also been contacting other companies saying, "Oh, look at this! Your ads are being placed on these racist videos," because videos fall through the cracks, and some videos that shouldn't be monetized get monetized. It was the video specifically was like something. It had Alabama N-word in the title. And it was a super small video, and then they clicked on it, and I'm pretty sure they refreshed it and refreshed it and refreshed it to get a couple different types of ads on that video. And Pepsi and Coke and tons of big companies pulled out. And whether you've heard this on Baited or any other large podcast, in this podcast, it's particularly an issue because most of the podcasts that talk about it that are big, they are still kind of set with their money. But when it comes to me, who has currently 745 subscribers, and Matt Cross, who has, what was it, like 300 something?
350 at this point.
Yeah. This is, if we ever want to actually make this a full-time job, that's a problem.
It's kind of a far cry, yeah.
It's a far cry now. Maybe it's a shadow cry, but it's a far cry.
Probably.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy, but I mean, I don't know. But yeah. He muted himself.
Oh, I guess he's like out pretty quickly.
Okay.
Okay. Well, he'll come back in a blazing fire soon.
Little unprofessional, but that's okay. It's just Matt and I now.
That's all good. But I mean, in terms of the monetization thing, like, isn't it that, because I've heard stories of like descriptions having offensive words, and those are getting demonetized or even taken down in some cases. Yeah,
there are actually, but like even like big vlogging channels with no like bad content or like anything offensive are having this issue as well. Yeah. And it's kind of weird. I mean, like, it hasn't hit me probably because I'm so small, but it hasn't hit me, and none of my videos are unmonetized now. But it's really strange, and I really hate how YouTube, it really all did blow up with the Wall Street Journal PewDiePie situation, because once they reacted in taking down his YouTube Red show, that proved that YouTube is now trying to police the entire website.
They're trying,
which
really
is
hard to cover it up.
Is not their job, in the sense that parents getting offended about their kids seeing content on YouTube. It's like, why the hell are you letting your kid on YouTube? This is the internet. This is the internet. And the great thing about YouTube is that it's supposed to be, and it was, a platform where you can pretty much, without breaking illegal terms or posting porn, you could pretty much say whatever you wanted, and it was a free place to become an entertainer of your own. But then copyright started coming into play, and
now everything's so restrictive, and they're just like policing everything now.
I don't want to get into political, but it's a big issue now, because we're starting to become a, oh my God, I'm so offended culture. We're not starting. We are we can't offend anybody. Everything has to be family friendly, but still entertaining. That's not possible. It's just not.
That's why, like, when I go to the homepage and like the trending stuff in general, it's like nowhere near as like diverse or as interesting as I remember it back then. Like, I remember going to YouTube back when I was like 8 or 9, and like I could see like videos that were like pretty freaking violent, like stuff that I probably couldn't see. But the fact that I was able to access that kind of stuff, that's like, it's pretty amazing that they were able to give that much freedom like back then. But now you come on and you see like just like stuff that's like tailored for only like what YouTube like just wants, just filtering
really
it
though
out.
It's disappointing. Also on this topic, do you watch Cat Icarus by any chance?
Yeah, yes I do. I quite like him.
He made a video about a BBC article about Peppa Pig, which he made a Peppa Pig. It's a
I know what Peppa Pig is. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay. I was really hoping I didn't have to explain that to you. There were parents, and it was a whole article about being offended about the YouTube Kids app, and how the YouTube Kids app, parents left one of the parents' 3-year-old child unattended on the YouTube Kids app, and it had like a really risque, sketchy parody, like sort of like an adult parody of Peppa Pig on it. And it's like, well, why the heck is why in the world are you letting your kid watch, even if it's on the kids app, which they shouldn't have made in the first place? Why are you letting your kids watch YouTube?
Now,
because
the kids app, is the kids app like filtered for like just content for kids?
Yes, and I don't understand why in the world they did that. Because obviously, if you name something after a kids show, like, okay, like what if a video was named Peppa Pig Goes to the Store, and then like the joke is that they go in and shoot up the store, for example, like.
No,
yeah, but parents being offended that their kids are on YouTube and they see an adult parody of their favorite little kid show,
it's kind of an unresponsible parent.
See, that's like the shit. That's like the shit where like the parents would call in. They'd be like, "Oh, my kid was playing Grand Theft Auto." It's like, okay, first of all, how did he get it?
It's like it's all their fault for making that game.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, how did he get it?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure if you go up to the counter and the little kid goes, "I want to buy this," no, he's gonna be like, "No."
I took my kid to see Deadpool, this superhero movie.
Yeah,
and it was very inappropriate for my child.
How could you make that for my kid?
I'm sorry, for your idiocy, you're not noticing it's fucking rated R, not PG.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. But yeah.
It's so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like that fucking... You remember seeing that news thing where it's like, oh, GTA 5, you can get raped in GTA 5. It's like, and it's like, you see, this woman was like, oh, I got raped on GTA 5. It's like, well, and then you see the clip, and it's like the dumbest thing. You're like, okay, why is this a problem? Exactly.
I didn't want to get political, but this is slightly political. Just not really. Okay, so when I hear people saying things, and Grand Theft Auto is always the go-to, the whole argument that video games are misogynistic all the time and sexist, and
I'm pretty sure you can create a female character in GTA 5.
That and the fact that the goal you get this is a quote. You get points for going around and raping and maiming women. Number one, you don't get points. Points have been irrelevant in games for like the past forever.
Also, points is pretty vague.
Number two, you really aren't rewarded for doing those things. And number three, you actually, I believe, as far as my knowledge goes from what I've played, you can't rape people. And number four, if you wanted to, you could go out with a shotgun and shoot every non-woman ever in that game if you wanted to.
Because that's the thing about GTA 5. It's like it's not made to do those kind of, it's not like the goal or the by-end thing that you can do is to like kill or rape all these people. No, it's that you're given the freedom to do whatever you want. It just so happens that you'll be able to do certain things that are kind of out of the norm, but it's never like the goal
to go after a game. If they actually wanted to go after me, look up the game Hatred. That shit was rated M, and then it got raised to an adult.
Oh, I remember that.
Also, we can jump to it. We can jump to another topic in the sense that video games cause school shootings. How's that for a claim?
Okay, maybe like once.
And it's not number one. It's if a video game was able to cause a school shooting, then it's not the video game causing it. It's like it's a fucked up kid's thought process.
Because there's so much things.
There's a lot of nuance to that.
Yeah, but that's not gaming at all.
If we're talking about the game aspect of it influencing like people and like to make that kind of thing of like offensive, or if that thing is offensive because of like games doing that, then. No, I really don't think it has that heavy of an influence.
That's also wrong because it's actually more of an outlet than it is an instigator for that kind of thing.
Yeah, because like... Oh, okay. Well...
Okay, so Shadow Cry's leaving now.
All right, yeah, he's out. But I was about to...
It's good. See you later.
It's okay, Shadow Cry. I'll see you soon.
Okay.
So I was about to... it's kind of... Like, I remember I made a video. It's like probably the one that comes like before this, or like it was probably like one of my later ones, but I made a video specifically talking about how media is like not exactly like supposed to represent us. And like really I went into that based on like the idea of like fandoms or nerds, but I think it also goes in a way of responsibility, I guess, because like how I mentioned that you're not entirely entitled to the media that you consume. Like,
Exactly.
I think this is a similar kind of case. It's like if you think a game influences someone to like do violent things or to be offensive or anything, I don't really think that's the case, because otherwise, if you think that way, you're really entitling yourself to like the game or like games in general, and then you're just like you're just grouping it all together as if like games are just these influencers that like make people do bad things because that's what games are meant to do. Nah.
Okay, then all horror movies are evil.
Then
all
yeah, and by that
all
logic,
comics, all books, all everything.
Any kind of media that like does something that's not safe is automatically like that for everyone then in that case.
The news is evil because they report these things, and that's going to inspire someone else to think, hey, that's a good idea. How about that? How's that for a claim?
Yeah,
like
that's exactly what I'm getting at.
Ridiculous. That's just insanity.
But it's like what you said. It's like it's really more of an outlet than anything else. It's like seeing a picture. It's like seeing art. It's not supposed to like instill like some sort of influence on you. It's just supposed to make you see things in a different light. But it's not exactly meant to influence you. I mean, that's more of where the responsibility thing comes in, I feel.
Right. Okay. You know? So real quick, since it's just the two of us now and we actually don't have a limit, how much longer do you want to go on? Because I'd kind of like to talk about a lot of the points that you said in that video of yours.
Probably the next 10 or 20 minutes.
Sure thing. Okay. So Matt's video, if you want to go watch it, it's on his channel, which you're already on. Hey, look at that. In his video, he also talked about the idea of being a fake fan. Like, you're not a real fan of this if you don't like this portion of the fandom, you know, like it
also goes for like if like let's say two people are fans of a thing and one person knows like more of a thing than the other, then
that as well.
You're not as much of a fan as me.
Really though, it's just it bugs the hell out of me, honestly. Here's a great example, because there are a lot of people like this. Pokemon is a big place of this in particular, because you can get very, very into Pokemon. And there are people called Gen 1ers who think that the series died very early on when they stopped caring when they grew up. And usually that means that it ended to them after Gen 1, being red, blue, and yellow. And then maybe gold and silver. Sometimes they think gold and silver is okay. But then anything past Gen 3 is terrible. And the idea of being called not a real fan, or them saying, I'm a big fan of Pokemon, even though I hate 80% of the series.
Yeah.
You know, like, really? Is that how it is? Or, goodness, I could go on all day about Gen 1ers, but I won't. It's just, it's aggravating. Or trying to talk about a subject that you just got into, and then you not being able to hold very, very, very deep conversations about the lore because you're still experiencing the series. I had that situation with Naruto, in fact. Because I was still watching Naruto, and I couldn't talk about the amazingly extensive lore it has. But yeah, it's just
until like you got like a bit more into it.
Exactly. It's tough.
Like as if there's some sort of threshold that you need to be in order to like actually be able to speak about something.
Right. And
which I don't think is exactly the case.
You also talked about this idealism of basically labeling yourself an expert and having that become your identity. Being an expert on a specific game or anime, it becoming your entire identity. And that's, or I don't know.
To put things in perspective, it's like how It's like how in like how Egoraptor, like I guess in his early days of games, he would always make like those one or two comments saying, I know about game design. I know this about game design.
Goodness. I'm so glad his shit about Sonic was as he said that it's he's actually a fan and that it was all like a big stage play. So I'm so glad that he doesn't believe that, because if you watch their Sonic Adventure Let's Play, there's a point in it. They say that it's worse than Boom Rise of Lyric. Like, what?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But then again, it's all subjective.
It's all subjective, but I guess by that, like, hearing him say something like that, it kind of gives you, like, I guess the mindset of I know a lot more. I feel more superior to know things more than this Sonic stuff, so I can get away with saying stuff like this, like, game that was considered the worst thing in the world. I can say that it's way better than like this game that everyone like previously loved. Yeah. And then I can like stay up top, and then everyone will listen. Like, not like that he explicitly says that, but I guess that's like the mindset.
It was definitely the vibe he was giving off the whole time.
Yeah. Which is why I kind of made that kind of thing, because I always see this, like, not even like with games or like with anime, like just in general, for like if like in competitions or just like people like in school who are like really like into their studies,
sports,
or, like, get everything done right away. They always feel so entitled about like being able to complete everything right away, and it's like, oh, why aren't you as studious or as like organized as I am? You know,
it's an
ego,
and you know,
yeah.
I think I can probably point out the biggest offender fan base wise of elitist culture.
All right.
Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely.
I even have a club in my campus who dedicates themselves to nothing but Melee. They put out Smash 4 like for people who were like passing by, and I happened to be one of those passerbys who only played Smash 4. And then when I wanted to see what else the club was going to do, I asked them if they were going to do anything else, but apparently all their meetups are just playing Melee on this small CRT, and that's all they do. Like, if someone tries to set up Smash 4, they just can't.
It has to be a CRT because there's slight delay if you have it on a big. Oh my goodness!
Is that actually the reason?
Yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason.
Oh geez.
Or Smash Melee culture is insane. Like, when you get to people talking about it, and I mean, Melee is a very complex game, and it's kind of weird because I don't think I've ever seen any other game that's like this big on that type of shit. Yeah. And Melee is huge. People want Nintendo to make a Melee HD, and I don't think Nintendo's ever gonna take that, because if it's in any way,
they'll do like a virtual console release if a GameCube virtual console is ever gonna happen, but that's about it.
Can we get some info on that, Nintendo?
And also, we need info on that.
We need info. I was hoping for something during this past direct, but all I got was tons of amiibo, and I'm done with the amiibo collecting shit. Fuck that. Yeah,
that's my favorite title.
Hey, Pikmin!
Is it? Hey, I want Nintendo, because it makes me think Nintendo's gonna make the Hey series for like all their games, so they're all gonna be like side-scrolling stuff. It'll be like, hey Animal Pikachu. Crossing, hey you Donkey Pikachu, something. It's gonna be great. I if they do that will be cute. Unnecessary, but it's cute though.
All right, so we're rolling up on 40 minutes here. Do you want to call it quits now?
Do you have any closing statements on copyright bullshit?
Well, I mean, this was more of a ramble than anything, but it was just a fun little icebreaker.
Yeah, I agree.
So our 2.5 man podcast is now concluded.
Yes, it has. Unfortunately, some couldn't make it, but it was fine. We dealt with what we had.
Yep. So, check out our YouTube channels. I guess you could put Shadow Cries in there, even though I think he has like one video, was it?
He has one review of Teslagrad that I helped make, and he said that he probably won't do any more.
Okay, well, I guess you should probably just put it in the description as a formality.
I'll just link him in the description. I'll link his Twitter. That's
all right, and make sure y'all go check me out. I do Let's Plays, currently blind Let's Playing Metroid Prime 2, so that's pretty fun.
Oh,
and yeah, if you want to hear more about me talking about Persona 5, there's a potential that I will be talking about the game in depth because I'm going to make a video on it when I complete it.
Be careful of how much you talk about it, though.
I don't know if that actually like goes for talking about the spoilers like without gameplay footage.
Because like how the heck will they be able to figure that out?
Exactly. So I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all for listening to the second episode of Oh, that's a podcast.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Is that what I've been in? Oh. Okay. I have been Guildmaster Wiggly.
I have been the Crossmet.
Matt the Crossknot.
The Crossknot.
And we hope to see you guys in episode 3 if we actually have more people.
Yeah, hopefully.
Peace out.
Laters.